Wild, dangerous, and completely unbelievable are just a few of the ways based on a true story. A new memoir from actor, gambler, raconteur, and Saturday Night Live veteran Norm Macdonald has been described. Mr. Macdonald's dry sense of humor established him as one of the most beloved and controversial anchors of Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update, and as his book's title suggests, based on a true story, is much more than a memoir. It's a Hunter S. Thompson-inspired epic of the comedian's life, including classic jokes and long mythologized Hollywood stories, with guest appearances from Chris Farley, Rodney Dangerfield, Sarah Silverman, Adam Sandler, and many others. I'm very pleased it has brought Norm Macdonald to our show today. Hello.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
I'm well. You talk about how the process of writing was not something that you really liked. You found it grueling. So what led you to even try to write a memoir?
Well, what happened was I was in a hotel room in Edmonton, Alberta, and my manager told me to look at my Wikipedia, and I looked at my Wikipedia, and somebody had changed my Wikipedia, and I was dead in my Wikipedia. And I had overdosed on morphine, which is some 19th century kind of drug to take, in the very hotel room that I was reading this. And so I chuckled as you did at first, but then I didn't. Then I got frightened because I knew that one day that would be true, you know. And
what, that you die of morphine, or
no, just that the tenses change.
Mm-hmm.
Is becomes was, and does becomes did. And so I thought, well, one day in the future, when Norm Macdonald was, that will be what's left, is a page on Wikipedia. So I said, I want to tell my own side of the story, and not just a series of facts, which I suppose is what a person's life is a series of facts.
Well, based on a true story, when we see that at the beginning of a movie, we know a lot of license has been taken.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, though, if you base something on... it's not really based on a true story. It's based on facts, but it is true. That's how I would say it.
How would you describe your writing style here? Are you using the truth as a stepping-up point for some rather elaborate storytelling? And how does this kind of writing differ, or is it the same as what you do when you're doing a stand-up?
No, it's much different. I'm not an educated person, so I wish I was, because I would have been able to write the book. But I wrote 4 books. 4 attempts at this book. Not 4 drafts, but 4 entirely different books, until I came upon this one that I think works.
Well, you told the Washington Post.
Maybe doesn't. I don't know.
I can't imagine how anyone likes to write a blanking book. I couldn't hate it more.
Yeah, I hated it. I hated every moment of it.
Through much
I liked writing the end. Those 2 words.
Through much of the book, you drink and do a lot of drugs and gamble. And
yes.
Are those things that you do on a
I don't
day-to-day
do them now.
life?
No, sir. I don't do any of them, but I did do them. Yes, I did do them a great deal. I didn't enter show business until late in life. And before that, I was sort of a criminal. I had criminal. Yeah, I was a criminal, I suppose.
You engage in illegal activities?
Yes, sir. I did.
Wow. Like what?
I would sell drugs. I would break and enter. Anything to...
Statute of limitations,
anything to survive. You know, I was just trying to survive. I had no money, and I was only 14 or 15 when I left home. So
this is in Canada.
This is in Canada. So you do what you have to do, and it's not immoral. You know, there's nothing immoral about it. But you know, I remember we would steal electric typewriters. This is how long ago it was. And we would smash the window, and the alarm would go off, and we'd grab electric typewriters. And we used a cab. The cab driver would be involved, and then we would drive to an Indian reservation where the police were not allowed to enter, and that's where we would put all the goods that we had stolen.
Would they go to a fence?
Yes, exactly.
You also mentioned gambling. What does it feel like to lose your net worth, something you say that you've done twice in your life?
Yes, it feels very good.
It feels good to
Yeah.
to lose everything?
Yeah, you go to the coffee shop and you have a coffee and you feel fresh and you feel like, hey, I'm going to start over. I can do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Is I've
you
always
know-
wondered about the appeal of gambling. Because the little bit of gambling I've done, okay, sometimes I made a couple of bucks, sometimes I didn't, but it doesn't really, I don't understand the addictive quality.
I guess what you're addicted to is hope, which is not such a bad thing according to our president. So when the dice are in the air, anything can happen, and then it hits the cruel green felt, and sometimes you bust.
You, along with so many comedians of your generation, Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, Martin Short, Catherine O'Hara, John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, Seth Rogen, Phil Hartman, Eugene Levy, Samantha Bee, are all from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something about Canada that produces all those funny people?
No, I don't think so. I think it's probably, we have 10% population of North America without Mexico, whatever that's called. So we have 10% population of what the United States has. So I would say it's probably, you mentioned 10 guys, I could probably mention 100 Americans.
Really? Well, but those are some of our favorites. And
they're my favorites. Yeah,
your
Martin
father was
Short.
a bit of a raconteur.
Incredible.
Did you think you got some of your comedic influences from him?
Yeah. Well, we lived a rather bleak existence when I was young. We lived on a farm that was sort of obsolete and it was just barren, rocky soil. So. And there was all those old men around, and but they were always happy and funny, even though their existence seemed bleak. That's why I was so attracted to Russian literature, because I saw all the people I knew in those books,
Like, we're talking about Shmedyadkov or Raskolnikov?
like just Gogol and
the absurd guys.
The absurd, yes.
My guest is Norm Macdonald, who's written a book called Based on a True Story, a memoir. You spent 5 seasons on the cast of Saturday Night Live in the 1990s.
Yes, sir.
How did you secure a tryout on the show, given the fact that your background was stand-up comedy, not sketch comedy?
Well, I was working on a show called Roseanne with Roseanne Barr,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked to the head writer of Saturday Night Live who liked me. He phoned me up and he liked me, and so he gave me the job. And so I went to Roseanne and I quit, and I came to New York. And then they told me, you're meeting with Lawrence tomorrow. And I'm like, what's that for? And they go, well, that's the audition, you have to audition. So I'd already quit my job. I thought I had the job. That was what I was told, that this was just a mere formality to meet Lauren. And then it turns out it's an audition. So I go in and he goes, I'd like to, you have to do 2 impressions. We have to go to the studio, you have to do 2 impressions, 2 characters. Everyone has to do it. And I said, I got to go home because I can't do that.
I don't do impressions.
I don't do impressions and I don't do characters. And I think he got a kick out of me or something. Lauren was always with me. He always thought I was just a big moron.
Well, he let you do the news. You're best known as the host of Weekend Update, or as you call it, the fake news. Did you do most of the writing for that, or was that something that was
I did most,
collaborated with?
But it was collaborative, but I kind of set the tone, and I tried to make the jokes different than other jokes. And we all tried to experiment, there was 3 of us, and we tried to experiment with comedy and the way that you tell a joke. And my idea was to strip bare all innuendo and all cuteness, and just leave the bare bone of the joke. And if it didn't work, then it wasn't a good joke to begin with.
But
if it just relied on tricks.
were there certain stories that were off limits?
Oh, yes. You know, people always ask me, because I do stand-up, you know, is anything off limits? And I hear comics go, nothing's off limits. And I think almost everything's off limits for me.
And you learned, of course, that the O.J. story might have been considered off limits. You were doing this during the time of the O.J. trial, and you got a lot of humor out of that. But
well, yeah.
How and when were you aware that NBC President Don Ohlmeyer was a good friend of O.J.'s?
I found that very strange. Well, listen, I admire that he stood by him. You know, he stood by his friend. But the jokes I did about O.J. were filled with moral outrage and righteous indignation because I didn't like him.
You didn't like him as a person? You knew him?
No, sir, I didn't. I didn't like. I don't like murderers, and I was convinced he was guilty, even though he was, you know, innocent, as it turned out.
Well, he was found not guilty. It's not the same thing.
Listen, I don't think it's
many
fair.
people believe that he was a murderer.
I don't think it's fair that he was given 40 years for stealing his own shirt. You know what I mean? I don't think that was fair. That he was obviously found guilty of the previous crime.
But do you think you were let go, as some do, because of the O.J. jokes?
I don't know.
David Letterman said of you, there may be people as funny as Norm, but I don't know anybody who is funnier. And if we could have, we would have had Norm on every damn week. You had obviously a very special relationship with him, and you performed the final stand-up set on his last year. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was the last. It was the last stand-up set, and everyone was being very cool with Letterman, very ironic, and that's not how I felt about it. You know, as it came to an end, because he was such an important person in my life, and I feel he was a very important person in culture. I think he changed the way everybody thought and spoke. You know. And so he was very important to me, and I just watched it and saw everybody be cool, and I was not cool about it. I was very sad that he was leaving. You got very emotional. Well,
I did.
You followed Donald Trump on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last week, one of the more controversial interviews with Donald Trump.
You know, when I saw it, I didn't think it was controversial. I mean, goodness gracious, it's Jimmy Fallon. He's maybe he blew his chance to be host of Meet the Press, but it's Jimmy Fallon.
Maybe he'll get Matt Lauer's job.
That's right. But yeah, it's Jimmy Fallon. What do you expect? I mean, that's why Donald Trump did it. But I will say this, when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, Donald Trump is being very reasonable and measured. This is getting a little frightening. Like, maybe he can pivot. I don't know.
You've had your own television series, which lasted 3 seasons. You co-wrote and starred in a feature film. You've done voiceovers, had a short-lived sports show, a podcast, and even played Colonel Sanders in KFC commercials. Yet you remain somewhat a cult personality. How does that sit with you?
Well, all that stuff is that you mentioned is pretty subpar nonsense. All I really do is stand-up comedy. You know, that's what I'm good at, and everything else came from stand-up comedy just as an accident. But I'm very, very good at stand-up comedy, and the rest is just free money.
How much does the act change show by show?
My act?
Yeah, but for example, Lenny Bruce, it was always different. On the other hand, George Carlin wrote out an act, and he would revise it a bit over the course of a year. But
he was very precise, George Carlin. His word
even
for
the
word.
uhs and the wells were written in.
Yeah, he was amazing. But no, my act's almost always different. I have so much material because I don't do specials. You know, I mean, I'm doing a special in a month. I shouldn't say that, but I don't do as many specials as everybody else. So I would say I have about 10 hours of material, and most people don't. So I just mix it up, you know. Sometimes I will talk to the audience, and whatever they say, I will talk about whatever they say, because I have a material.
Improv.
I have material on almost. It's not improv, no. It's I have material on nearly every subject.
Comedy Central's president, Kent Alterman, described your absence from the airwaves as one of the great injustices of the world.
Yeah,
but he could give
if
you
only
a
he
show.
knew somebody.
Well, has there been talk about Comedy Central?
I don't know. I haven't been home since then. I've been on the road. But yeah, I read that. It was funny.
Well, considering what you've said about writing this memoir, can I assume that one of the things you won't be doing in the future is writing more books?
I'll probably write more books, yeah.
You will write more books?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, as much as I hate it, I feel compelled to do it. I can't explain it. But once I started writing a book, I knew that's what I should be doing. And I always thought I should be doing stand-up. And once I started writing a book, I realized I should be writing a book.
But writing funny in a book is different than writing funny for stand-up, because in stand-up, there's the tone of your voice, there's body language.
Yes.
Here, you just have to make people laugh because of the words that you've used.
It's almost impossible. Like if you go to a library, the last place you want to be is the humor section. You know, good Lord, it's awful. And in the history of America, you know, who has there been? You know, Mark Twain,
Will Rogers.
What's the other fellow's name?
Well, there have been
Josh. Can't remember his last name. But this was long ago. But modern, you know, humorists would be like Irma Bombeck and this kind of garbage.
Well, there have been some funny ones too, but
who's that?
Well, we'll talk during the break, because I have to announce that you'll be speaking with Vulture editor David Marquez. Is it Marquez?
Yes.
Tonight at the Union Square Barnes & Noble store at 7 o'clock.
Yes,
the
sir.
book is based on a true story, a memoir. It is published by Spiegel and Grau. And my great thanks to Norm Macdonald for
Thank you,
being our
Leonard.
guest today.
You're a scholar and a gentleman, sir. I appreciate it. What about guys
like
that
the
do
dipshit.
like that's not very good, is it?
Sometimes it is. I mean,
Political
you know,
stuff?
I like all comedy. You probably
ya?
do too, Norm. You know,
Huh?
you probably like it all too.
I don't like political comment.
You don't?
Like, I don't give a fuck if Reagan's old. Are they still doing Reagan jokes?
Probably. They probably are. Yeah, you gotta have you get like an old socialist audience. Old Jewish guys with ponytails when you do material like that.
You understand after a while, and even with politicians, like they're still human beings. And
yeah, barely, but yeah, they're the worst kind of fucking people in the world.
That's true.
All of them.
Well, I agree. I'm glad to hear you say that, because everybody thinks you're all leftist and everything.
Well, I mean, you know, I definitely land on the lefty side of things on, you know, ideological terms, but I found that from doing political talk radio, just, you know, being, you know, carrying water for any of them, you just got to realize the quality of people you're dealing with. You're dealing with fucking corporate whores who are operated by business interests. So, you know, really it's going to come down to, you know, however you view politics, the question is, do you give a shit about poor people? And,
Right.
and are we being taken advantage of?
Right.
Now, if people want to frame that as, you know, Obama's a communist and draining us of our livelihood, well, that's your particular delusion, and that's fine. I mean,
Right.
but I just got disillusioned with all of it, because these are not quality people. I mean, I did a joke about Michelle Bachmann on Real Time.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I was getting flack from this, you know, a very small portion of the right,
Yeah.
you know, that they were like, he's a misogynist. I'm like, she's a fucking pig. She's a fucking politician. Can you name me two politicians that command any respect whatsoever? Why do we respect these people? These people are car salesmen. They're idiots. They're more disingenuous than anybody as performers, and they basically figured out a way to bait and placate morons into, you know, voting against their self-interest. That's an amazing skill, but is it respectable? I don't know. Do you respect a guy that sells you, you know, horse shit in the guise of a health supplement?
I agree with you. I mean, I think politicians are terrible. I mean, people attack evangelists, but at least evangelists offer something.
Right. Well, they after the immediate relief of someone's pain and aggravation with another line of bullshit. But nonetheless, I mean, they're pretty evil too.
Well,
I mean, with politics, it's like. Yeah, I don't like to get into it that much anymore.
Yeah, let's not get into this shit, man.
Okay, buddy.
Because it's getting. I can see people not laughing now.
No, I mean, but laughter. But I know that you've gotten into a little bit of flack around it. But you're
flack around what?
Around politics.
What do you mean?
Well, just say you've said things that people have reacted to, but you're not like a political comic.
I'm not political. I've only said things on purpose to provoke people.
Right.
Once in a while.
You like doing that though.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
But I've never. But I've never. Because I don't know enough. And because I don't respect political humor when it's nothing but gossip.
Yeah, and mostly comics and people like us, people who are obviously First Amendment warriors to a certain degree. We like living the way we want to live. So it's really just going to come down to money. It's like, how do I keep my money? I mean, that's the biggest political question that most righties ask themselves. It's like, I'd like to keep as much of my money as possible. And if that's in a minority opinion, how do we get this majority of poor people to get me to keep my money and believe that they're doing the right thing?
Yeah, it's a tough fucking thing because apparently I read this, if all the money in the world was equally divided among everybody would be dead fucking poor.
Yeah. There's these moments where I don't talk about as much as I used to, but then there's moments where you're like, there's a moment that I was on a fucking radio show the other day. And this was an interesting thing because it's about professionalism. I don't do political talk radio. I've got my political views and they're fairly general. I'm not trying to support any politician, but I have the way I think about things. But there are politicians that represent the opposite of what I think. So I'm on this talk show with a guy, it's a Fox affiliate, but I'm there to plug my comedy and talk about my podcast and be funny with this dude who's a talk show host. He's a radio professional. He runs an entertainment show for the most part, but he's been dying to talk to Rand Paul about the bridge situation because I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. He's the fucking senator.
Right.
They got bridges falling down, and he's been trying to get this guy on the show. And the guy he calls in when I'm there. So now I've got, if I was doing political talk radio, I mean, it would have been what the fuck are you thinking? You and your libertarian bullshit, and how are we going to pay for this? I would have jumped in and done that. But there was this moment where it's I just done a segment with this radio professional. He was like, God, it's great to talk to a guy who knows how to be on radio. We're having a good time. Hold on, the senator's on the phone. And I got to sit there and go, oh, do I do this? Would it be worth it to sabotage this for some lefty, credibility? Yeah, and then I realized, dude, he's a radio guy. You're a comedian. You're having a good conversation. He's trying to talk to this guy about a local problem. Just shut the fuck up and let him do his job. And then when you come back, get back to what you were talking about. And I chose to do that. But I did walk out saying, you pussy. You had such an opportunity there.
I was on Politically Incorrect a couple of times.
Yeah.
And, fuck, man. You have to have an opinion about every goddamn thing on that show. So,
or you can just do a little homework and write some jokes.
Yeah, but sometimes I remember at the break, Scott Carter go, enough with the jokes.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget it. I'm very unlearned, and so before the show, Scott came in, who was the
producer. Yeah, he's been on the show. Yeah.
So he said, "What do you think about China and Taiwan?" And seriously, I only know those as words, So I was like, I don't know anything. Can't I have another subject? So anyways, then we get out because he goes, because Bill believes this. Anyways, when we get out, we're introducing the guy beside me, the smart guy, right? Mm-hmm. He wrote a book on China and Taiwan. Right. So fucking Bill Maher, he starts with me. He goes what was it, China and Taiwan? I go, I don't know. Fucking ask this guy. What do I know? I'm a nightclub comic. What? That's what made me laugh at that show. Everyone's opinion's equal. Right. Right. Like a nightclub comic and an expert. And then another thing I always found funny about that show is the comedians try to be very serious, and then the serious guys are trying to get jokes. Yeah. So it's
it's not always our shining moment.
I do like Bill though.
No, Bill's great at what he does. Yeah. He started out a straight up joke dude, and he knows his shit. And it's pretty amazing.
What's funny about him? I don't know if I should say this or not, but he's probably aware of it. when he does his monologue, have you noticed when he does his monologue, he does Johnny Carson?
No, yeah, oh no, definitely. He
He
definitely
must
models
be aware of
himself.
it.
I think that's been his style for a long time. He
Yeah,
definitely
okay.
takes the posture.
But I find it very funny because, he's got the posture and the timing and everything. And he's
Yeah.
like, and then she came in his face,
Yeah.
but it's like crazy words come out.
And Carson would have loved to have done that.
Yeah, he probably would have.
Met Donald Trump when he was on The Tonight Show on Jimmy Fallon show. Now, tell us about that encounter you had with Donald Trump.
Well, I'd met Donald Trump many, many times in New York City, just because when I was doing Saturday Night Live, he was a fixture in New York City, and he'd come to a lot of the shows, and he was just a local eccentric, that people mostly loved in New York because he fixed the rink in Central Park when the city couldn't. But no, when I was on Jimmy Fallon, that's when Jimmy Fallon tousled his hair and got in trouble for it, and I was the other guest. So I was just out in the hallway, and I said, Donald, can I have a picture? You could call him Donald then. I guess you can still call him Donald. We don't have to call him President, apparently. But I said, could I get a picture with you? And he said, yeah, absolutely, sure, Norm. And then he walked down the hall and got in the elevator with his Secret Service guys. So, but he was just doing it as a joke. A lot of times, the problem with candidates or political candidates that do comedy is obviously comedy doesn't translate well to the page sometimes. Sarcasm is lost, obviously, and things like that. So if someone says something that's meant self-disparagingly or satirically, and you want to take it out of context, you can. And that happened a lot of times with Trump on the campaign trail.
But he's being caricatured on Saturday Night Live, like quite mercilessly by Alec Baldwin. Like, is it funny to you? Is that funny?
No. The only reason I don't find it funny, when I was there, Darrell Hammond did Donald Trump, and that shows how far back Trump goes, because that was 20 years ago. But Darrell did him then. It was a softer Trump, I think it was a Trump that was a lot closer to his real self. But the problem with, if you do an impression of someone, you have to like that person, because you're playing the person, and people like themselves. So you can't play someone and have contempt for them at the same time. It doesn't work as an impression. So I don't like his impression, and I have no political affiliation. I just mean from a comedy level.
Let me ask you this. So your Bob Dole imitation was pretty famous back in the day. So would you do Donald Trump today? Would you do a Donald Trump imitation?
I try to not do comedy about Donald Trump because I think I had one joke about Donald Trump that I ever did where I said that Americans hated Hillary Clinton so much that they voted for someone they hated more than Hillary Clinton to rub it in. And that's the only time I ever made a joke about Trump. But I try to stay away from it because it's just, it's low-hanging fruit, and also, Trump oftentimes is doing self-parody, and nothing looks dumber than if you parody self-parody. You really get caught not understanding.
So comedy in the time of Trump, is it more difficult than it was when you were on Saturday Night Live?
It's more difficult in the time of Trump for good comedians, and it's way easier for bad comedians. You don't have a worldview by just saying you don't like Trump. You know what I mean? That doesn't count. Like you can't just say I hate Trump, and that makes you a good person. And the Democrats just can't say I hate Trump, and that means they have a position. That's no position. So for idiots, it's an easier time because you go, well, that guy's the idiot, not me. But if you try to do smart comedy, it's better to stay away from Trump, you know.
Big thing was he forced him to do this. The big problem that Clinton has is this thing where he's going to pardon the McDougalls.
He may or may not pardon them. Yeah, people don't know. The Whitewater people, we call them here at the show.
Hillary, if she is, because she is also a co-conspirator.
Yeah, if she gets sent away.
If she gets sent away, will he pardon her? And Clinton said, "You do the time, you do the crime, you do the time," he said.
That was so sweet, you know. You moved into three-point range and up, and at the last second fouled. All right.
I don't know about politics.
Last week at a dramatic press conference about the crash of TWA Flight 800, ABC News correspondent Pierre Salinger displayed a document which he believes is proof that the jet was shot down by a U.S. Navy missile. Later, he proudly showed reporters his solid gold Rolex that he bought on the street for just $15. That's one ugly bastard, isn't it? Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California. A down-and-out O.J. Simpson, depressed that all of his money-making ideas have failed, has decided to go back to doing what he does best, killing people. And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? And what a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case, all bets are off. Just a word of advice. A new book claims that Madonna once smeared peanut butter all over John F. Kennedy Jr.'s body and then licked it off. Which just goes to show you, Madonna's a whore. And finally, Weekend Update would like to congratulate Madonna, who gave birth to a beautiful baby girl last Monday. The baby weighed in at 6 pounds, 9 ounces, making it the 4th largest object ever to pass through Madonna's birth canal. This week, in a secret ceremony in Australia, Michael Jackson was married for the 2nd time. Asked what makes his new bride special, the King of Pop said, quote, "She has taught me about the power of imagination, like imagining that a grown woman is a 10-year-old boy." You know he's a homosexual pedophile, right? You understand? Sources report that Michael Jackson's baby is due February 27th, and it's going to be named Michael Jackson Jr. Michael plans to be with the mother during the delivery, in his words, to make up for not being there for the Sources report that Michael Jackson's baby is due February 27th. It's conception. The last word was conception, so.
Michael Jackson. He said, I heard a quote where he said, "I don't care if my child is a boy or a girl, as long as it's a boy." He's going to name it. He said he doesn't know what he's going to name it. He said he thinks if it's a girl, he's going to name it Sharon.
Really?
Yeah. And if it's a boy, he's going to have sex with it.
I came in and he was supposed to be the my guide through SNL, and it turned out that He is a shit stirrer.
I'm not going to guide any lady through comedy. That would take me, first of all, I'd have to figure out how a lady could do comedy. You know? And then I'd have to...
Safer drivers, men or women? Well, according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do. No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women. Here we see the president and the first bitch. Gosh, Hillary looks pretty in this photo here, doesn't she? Never realized she was such a looker till I see her here in this picture. But you see, the only way Bill Clinton, or Bob Dole can win, really, is if Bill Clinton is rocked with more scandals. You know, there's every day a new scandal comes up, you know. I heard this one today, terrible scandal, apparently. Way back when he was governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton, apparently, he got really drunk one night, and he had sex with Hillary.
Wow.
That's no good.
That's a shocking thing.
Yeah. And how long have you been married?
7 months.
7 months, which is a record.
No, this is the first. I've been married, Larry, but I've never been married.
Married.
This is married.
Married like...
She's my friend, like I love her.
I see. That's what Clinton says about his wife, isn't it?
In Whitewater News, federal regulators quizzed Hillary Clinton at the White House this week and gave her a perfect score on the lying section. She's a dirty liar.
You know, of course, they say the White House is haunted. Did you know that? And I thought this was kind of sad. I heard last night that President Clinton charged Abraham Lincoln's ghost $10,000 to sleep in his own bed. So that doesn't seem right to me, you know? I mean... No. But look, the president, you know, has come under a lot of fire for raising money, but, you know, he's good at raising money. That's not a bad thing. Every president's done it. It's just that President Clinton is very, very, very good at it. Do you know he has organized in the past year over 100 fundraising dinners and over 200 fundraising midnight snacks? Did you know that? Is he laughing? Is he...
Okay, Norm, you're Canadian.
Yes, I am.
So what do you think of this whole presidential mess?
Well, I hope that the Democrats don't steal the election from the winner, you know, but who knows?
You like George Bush, don't you?
I love George Bush, man. He's a good man, decent, you know, none of this. He's, you know, he's not a liar, a crook, murderer, or anything like that, so it'd be good to get the... See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Who are the murderers?
Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, you know, we're not allowed to, you're not allowed to put out no accusations without...
That's a little too far.
That's the way it does work.
Let's just go on to the next question.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh, it's not mine either, and I'm being very nice, okay? Be a good boy. Now, Norm.
Did you never hear that?
No. Listen,
Norm,
we don't need
I
to
don't want
talk
to get
about
into
that.
this, and I don't want to hear it, and this is not the place to make those accusations, and you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to the next question. So get with it.
There you go.
This is a live show.
Why? Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara, so I'm now going to ask the next question.
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up!
Look, let me do this.
okay? I'll tell you what's a matter of record. You will not be invited back if you don't shut up. All right, now. Let's talk football.
All right, manslaughter.
Let's talk football.
Norm.
The people here asked me to do the show, you know, I gotta say, I felt kind of weird, you know. I don't know if you remember this, but I used to actually be on this show, you know. I used to do the weekend update news routine, you remember that? And, yeah. That's where I did the make-believe news jokes, you know. That was me, right? So then, a year and a half ago, right, I had a sort of a disagreement with the management at the NBC. I wanted to keep my job, right? And they felt the exact opposite. So you see, they fired me because they said that I wasn't funny, you know? Now, with most jobs, I could have had a hell of a lawsuit on my hands for that, but see, this is a comedy show. So they got me, you know what? But now, this is the weird part, right? It's only a year and a half later, and now they asked me to host the show. So I wondered, I go, hey, wait a second here. Hey! I go, how did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I suddenly get so goddamn funny? It was inexplicable to me, because a year and a half, let's face it, is not enough time for a dude to learn how to be funny. Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, you know, well, you'll see later. Okay, so let's recap. The bad news is, I'm still not funny. The good news is, the show blows. All right, folks, we got a bad show for you tonight. Dr. Dre, Snoop Doggy Dogg, and Eminem are here. We'll be right back.
I love my mother, you know. She lives right beside me here. She's great. I don't think my mother has ever spoken a word that had any irony in it. You know what I mean? Like, she's just earnest. She's just happy. She knows how to love. She doesn't judge, you know?
Oh, he definitely wanted to. I'm sorry, Molly.
No, you go, Adam.
I was just going to say he definitely wanted to make the point he loves his mom.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a
Because it was like a
tearjerker
moment where you just have this glimpse where he takes a pause and he's like, she's great.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, she'll go sometimes to the grocery store and come back. The other day, she did this. She come back, she said, oh, man, funny thing happened in the grocery store. I said, what happened, Mom? She said, a woman came in and bought a grapefruit, and it cost $1.69, and last week, it cost $1.19. And then I said, well, that's not a story, let alone a funny story. I don't even think that would be considered a story. Think about that unconscious, subconscious thing, because I remember my buddy one time, he's in psychology, he went to college, this guy, and I love milk, right? So we were eating a meal one time, and so I take a drink of milk, and my friend goes, you know why you're drinking that milk, right, Norm? And I say to him, it's not because I like milk, I know that. Because I know this guy, you know. So he goes, no, it's not. He goes, the reason you're drinking that milk is because you miss sucking on your mother's breast. I'm like, ah. Now, you guys don't know my mother. But she's wonderful. Like, she's a saint. You know how people, say their mothers are saints? My mother is actually a saint. So
I mean, she hasn't performed 2 miracles, right? I guess she's not actually a saint, but she's much more saint-like than your fucking mother. That's what I'm saying. But there was a generation, like my mother's 85, there was a generation of women that you all know. Maybe it was your mother, maybe it was your grandmother. But they lived at a time, and I support you, me too, you too. More than anything, because, you know, for the young girls, it's going to be fantastic. But no one like my mother will ever exist again. And it's just this generation of women that were so, like, selfless, and like my mother would be, you know, the type of woman, like at dinner time, everyone's eating, and she's in the kitchen, and everybody have a second, you know, are you sure? And then, oh, but the turnips, you know, and wanted to make sure everybody got, and then she would, whatever was left, she would make a little plate for herself, you know, and that's what my mother was like, still is like, she lives right beside me. Her eyes shine love. I've never heard her say a phrase that had any irony flecked in, you know, she just, and so happy, you know. Like, she'll come back to the grocery store, she'll go, Norm, the funniest thing happened at the store. I say, what happened, Mom? She says, there was a woman buying pineapple. It was $1.69 last week, and this week it was $1.19. I'm like, that's not a story, you old bag. What the fuck? A story. I don't say that, but I would trade places with my mother in a second, because all she knows is love. You know how to love people. That's hard, man. That's hard. Man, I forgot why you brought that up. Oh, I remember. I don't want to suck her tits. So maybe I'm shallow. I want to suck my mother's tits, all right? So anyways, I'm having this discussion with this guy at the fucking restaurant, and now, after he tells me this, the milk is still there. And what the fuck am I gonna do? Guzzle it? Milk, you know, I can't just leave it there. It was the worst. Whatever. Oh, and then it came time to order our entrees. You know what this guy gets? 2 meatballs and a banana. I'm like, hey! Wait, wasn't even on the menu. Like, he had to... What's good for the goose is... This is just... Absolutely... I read about that, subconscious, unconscious. They said, when you pick a president, this is an election year, this is kind of some word. Apropos. You ever say a word, you go, I hope this is what it means.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I was a bro. Get apart by you.
I'm here with my son Norman, and we're going to tell you some jokes about President's Day. What do we call George Washington's false teeth? His presidentures. What U.S. president has long legs, a black beard, and an unusual smell? Abraham Stinker.
Today I went to the board to be examined. The opinions were divided. They debated and debated, and finally decided that I am not mad. But that is only because I used every ounce of my strength not to speak out. I did not speak out because I am afraid of the madhouse. I am afraid that they will not let me do my mad deed.
What would George Washington be if he was alive today? Really, really old. How many Trump's senior presidential aides do you need to make a light bulb? None. They're meant to keep him in the dark.
They declared that I was prone to certain sorts of affectations and such, but that still, I was in my right mind. As for myself, I know that I am mad.
What would you have if you crossed a vegetable with the first president, George Washington?
The doctor prescribed me something and told me if I followed it strictly, that I would not be troubled anymore. Oh, what I would do not to be troubled anymore. It is too tormenting. But I will tell you, in due order, how I came to be examined, how I lost my mind, and why my madness betrayed me.
Happy President's Day.
Hey, everybody.
So now we got a guest, which is cool. Jack Duvall. He's David Duvall's brother. Do you know the golfer?
Is that true?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, but that would be cool, right?
Yeah.
He almost won the U.S. Open. He's the president of the International Center on Nonviolent Conflict. That's cool. What's that mean?
It means people power.
Yeah?
When people rise up and demand their rights.
What, is that what they did in that movie Gandhi? Which was, by the way, based on a true story, I heard?
In fact, it happened, yeah.
Yeah. But don't a lot of people die doing that?
Well, that's because the British began to shoot Indians.
Yeah, right. Well, won't that happen if your part is nonviolent?
But that's where it gets interesting. If you've got a great strategy and you know how to diffuse repression, or ways of doing that tactically, then
it doesn't work. It doesn't work one-on-one, right? Like let's say a guy comes at me with a gun. Me being nonviolent, that would not work ever.
No, I mean, I'm not a pacifist. I think everybody has the right to self-defense. If it's the only thing you can do to defend yourself and your family, absolutely.
But you need a lot of people. So this could happen in Iran, right?
You don't necessarily need lots and lots of people, because here's the deal. If I were in a room with like maybe 25 or 50 people, and I was threatening them with a gun, and I said, okay, I want you to do the following things, otherwise I'm going to shoot you.
Right.
They'd have a choice. They could say, okay, we'll do those things, we don't want you to shoot us. Or if I were convinced that none of them were going to do the things that I wanted them to do, even if I were threatening them with a gun, then the threat of violence wouldn't have any power, because it's always a transaction.
Right, but what about just the fun of shooting someone? Like, a lot of these people are sadists.
That's another story, yes, absolutely. And that's what these movements do. Like in Iran, they can, if their tactics are strategic, what they can do is to essentially separate that element from within the military and the police forces, which are interested, like the Basiji in Iran, enjoy beating people up, from regular army people who see themselves as defenders of the public order and the nation's honor and all the rest of that stuff.
Hey, can you tell me about Iran? Because I don't understand anything about it, because I don't know anything except what I see on TV.
Well, we had a really interesting and not unique set of circumstances in which the Iranian regime basically stole an election. And
No, but I mean beforehand. Like, remember when the students took over the embassy and all that with the hostages?
That's another story. That was a violent revolt that was actually a stunt that was pulled by an extreme faction of the Islamic Revolution.
So they weren't young students, right? They weren't educated?
No, that was inspired. That was
why are there educated students in Iran? Why would that old guy let that happen?
Well, the old guy, you see, that was already after the Islamic Revolution had succeeded. So the power that sat there was the new leaders of the Islamic Revolution.
Right.
And so that was designed, in fact, to help it was for internal domestic politics to enable more power to accrue to the extreme part of the regime. And essentially, that's the same thing that we saw earlier this month in Tehran.
But did they have did they have satellites during that Khomeini guy?
No, they didn't, but Khomeini used the technology of the day to get in power, which was audio tapes. They mass-produced audio tapes of his speeches. He was a very charismatic speaker, and hundreds of thousands of those were infiltrated throughout Iran, and many believe that, he was the liberator from the Shah.
But what I'm asking is, like those guys, those ayatollahs, because they're so serious about what they believe and stuff, why would they allow any Western communication to enter the country? Why wouldn't they just be a closed
It's the way you do business these days. They don't have a choice. If they don't allow digital media in, they can't function in the real world. They can't make a profit as a regime. So it is a trade-off for them. And those who felt that this election had been stolen and poured into the streets used that same digital media, which was then cranked down by the regime in order to help snuff out the protests. And that phase was successful. But they have to go back to allowing full use because otherwise, as I said, they can't function in the world economy.
The new guy, Khamenei, which sounds suspiciously like Khomeini to me. Plus, he has a long white beard that looks exactly alike. But wasn't the first guy like real famous, and then this guy was kind of hid in the background and pretended that other guy was powerful?
Yes, Norm, exactly. In fact, this guy was a controversial pick 20 years ago to be the supreme leader because he wasn't a famous cleric. He wasn't regarded as spiritually advanced, and it was kind of a political power play that put him into the seat.
Huh. What do those guys have? What are those guys' powers? Those clerics, those mullahs? Can they talk to God and stuff?
They certainly think they do, and but it's a.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with them.
No, not on that. That's for sure. We can argue with them about the way they're governing their country, depriving people of their rights.
But their beliefs, I strongly agree with.
Pardon me?
Their beliefs, I strongly agree with. I just want them all to know that. Something there's no point being controversial about. I found that.
Yeah. Well, it's. Anything that is supremely serious, as the supreme leader and his machinations are, we have to find some basis to laugh a little bit about it. And
but when that guy stood in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square, was he an important person, or was he
symbolically, but not strategically?
He did something though. Something changed within China since he did that.
I don't think so at the time, but I think that what that taught that regime to invent better ways of keeping control, keeping the lid on. And it also taught the regime that there needed to be a loosening in some direction for the new generations. And so the economic loosening and the turn to free market policies did help to accommodate the rising energies of the next generation.
But the Chinese made a strong point that one guy standing there, man, that ain't nothing if you got a tank. But we got to go, and then we'll talk to you in a little bit, right, Christian?
Jack, if you have the time, we'd like to hold you through the break, is what Norm said. Okay, thanks.
I have no idea. You notice I can't add in one thing?
Why?
All I'm doing is sitting here thinking, what would Dennis ask? What would Dennis's point be? What would his view be? What would his position be?
Oh, yeah. I forgot to do that. Right now?
Yeah, see, they couldn't hear what I was saying. I was trying to be off the air. So that's Norm Macdonald, and this is the Dennis Miller Show.
Give us a call at 866-99-DENNIS. That's 866-99-DENNIS. We're joined now by Jack Duval, who is president of the International Scene Center on Nonviolent Conflict. Welcome to the show. Hey, so he's back. So nonviolence, so tell us about that, because that's a pretty fascinating thing.
Well, when it's used by people that get into the streets, as in Iran, it works if three things happen. If people mobilize in large numbers in ways that really impress the rest of the country as representing everyone's grievances. In other words, if there's unity to take this action. Secondly, if they put real pressure on the institutions of the state and drive up the cost of repression. And finally, if
what is the cost of repression now?
The cost, well, I mean, it's the cost of
you can't put a number
state.
on it.
Consider this.
No.
If you have 1 million people in the streets for 20 days, which is effectively what the Ukrainians did in the so-called Orange Revolution 5 years ago, if you do that, then everybody's working overtime. The cost of doing that to the state goes up. All these authoritarian regimes are incompetently managed. That pressure is extreme. And then people within the security forces begin to say, hey, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for. Is this sustainable? Who's going to win this thing? And then they begin to think, maybe I shouldn't, if I'm beating somebody up, maybe that means that they'll know that I did that when the new group takes power. And you see that over and over again. If
the new group that takes power, so the nonviolent conflict is a political...
It's about power, yes.
One person's idea, so... that person would be whoever. Ayatollah Khomeini would have been that person.
Well, that person is going to be somebody who the people perceive as representing their grievances, because that's the only way you can mobilize them.
In Iran, it wouldn't be this other character, would it?
Well, the thing about Mousavi was that he was a safe choice because he was within the. He said he would abide by the Islamic State.
Yeah.
He was a moderate. He was reformist. So a lot of people who wanted sort of a soft change could identify with him. But
is there anybody in Iran now? It's like Yeltsin, just a crazy drunk that'll get up and say anything, and the people will get behind him.
Ahmadinejad is a dogmatist. He's and he's not a classic authority. This is a clique. There's been a coup, and the extreme form of the Shiite Islamists in Iran have essentially taken complete control of the state. That's the fundamental political reality of what's occurred.
Yeah.
And that is scary.
But is it scary if you do nonviolent confrontation, then what if a guy beheads you? Do you at some point, struggle back?
Hey, sometimes that can work for you, because the more outrageous the repression, the more angry people become, and then there's a fire next time.
Right. So you got to be able to put your life on. It's almost like suicide bombings, except it's actual suicide, not homicide.
In a sense, certainly political suicide. If a regime is too violent, then it really ends up, busting its bank. Because
remember that old dude in the newspaper that set himself on fire?
You mean back in the Vietnam War days?
Yeah.
I certainly do.
Would that guy be the king of all nonviolent protesters, that he had reached this point where he could...
No, because not everybody will do that, and generally the most effective nonviolent action is one that inspires imitation, and
people.
The other people want to do the same thing.
Did you say immolation?
Imitation.
Oh, imitation. I thought you said immolation was hard to... But Todd has a question.
Well, now I'm wondering if it's a stupid question.
It is a stupid question. It's yours.
Well, you said off the air it was okay, and so did the producer. What about the 9/11 situation, when they were up in the air? There's nothing nonviolent you can do there to stop that, right?
That's right. Another situation of what I would call...
because there's not mass people. One of the three things you need.
Well, there's 300.
That's not mass, right?
Versus
Jack, am I right?
You could, in a technical sense, I mean, the power of the people in the airplane could overwhelm a small-armed...
And by the way, just let me interject real quickly. I'm not implying that they should have done anything.
Right.
I'm just trying to understand what you're saying, so asking that question.
I'm saying it's a shame that David Duvall only lost by one stroke. And I think Jack's still feeling it.
Actually, usually everybody asks me, well, do you know Robert Duvall?
Oh, Robert Duvall, yeah.
He's the guy. Actually, he had a brother whose name was Jack, too, and that guy I did know.
Oh, really? So you knew Robert Duvall's brother, Jack Duvall, because you go to a convention of guys named Jack Duvall?
I actually once Googled myself for
Watch your mouth.
And I found out there were 44 Jack Duvalls in the United States. So
yeah, it's humbling.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How many Norm Macdonald?
Well, when you YouTube and you go hey, man, I'll listen to a James Brown song, and instead it's a guy in his basement doing James Brown.
Right.
You're like, well, I didn't want this. Why is that number one?
Although those music videos are great, sometimes there's an unknown, and it's amazing what they're capable of.
Hey, Robert Duvall is an unknown in our next guest, Billy Joe Shaver's video. You know Billy Joe?
I remember Billy Joe.
Yeah, well, he does
What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing?
What?
Billy Joel, sure.
No, that's Billy Joel. Billy Joe Shaver.
Acting stupid.
So anyways, he was up for Gospel Album of the Year, and he has Robert Duvall as a walk-on. But Jack, thanks, man. You taught me a lot about Iran, and I bet a lot of dumb people in the audience that are as dumb as I am learned a lot of stuff too.
You can't be afraid to ask, because other people are thinking the same thing.
It was a pleasure. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack. You're a smart guy. Hey, listen, is Jack still there?
Well, you cut him off.
I had one question for him.
Well, I'll answer it.
I was going to say, what does a guy like
We're wrapping it up.
We're wrapping it up. We'll be back on the Dennis Miller Show.
And then talk about a guy who picks good projects.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 60% of having a career like that.
Yeah. I read in
Bill
the
Murray's
Sting,
like that,
Bill
too.
Murray will do nothing. And you know another great thing about Bill Murray that I think was smart? He doesn't get work done. Like, he doesn't get plastic surgery.
Mhm.
So his face looks super authentic.
Yeah.
And, like, you would think an actor would want that, like those lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you could use that. Because I remember at the end of his life, Jackie Gleason got a facelift.
Yeah.
And it looked like, it was like, why wouldn't you want to use your old face? That would be super funny, you know? Instead of because you're not a leading man.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I think about Bill Murray. Everybody else gets ridiculous work done that makes them look young, and then Bill Murray gets to, look like an authentic.
Right.
Plus, he's a great actor. It's amazing that he took that route. You know, he did Razor's Edge, which was awful.
Oh, yeah.
But still was daring.
Yep.
Project, and I guess he just had all this money from Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And so he did the exact opposite of Dan Aykroyd. It was always funny, like
Dan just kept chasing the big movies. Yeah. And then he did that crazy sitcom where he was a priest, and you're like, what happened here?
I was, they sent me, they wanted me to do a thing on the show.
Oh, yeah.
On that show. It was one of those, cool priests, you know, and he drove a Harley and stuff. Like that really exists, you know? And so anyways, they sent me the thing. He's like, it's a really funny part, you know, Norm. And I'm like, well, I'll just do it, you know, because you're asking me, because you're the greatest. And then I got the script, and all I did was I was looking through the telescope, and I said, "Oh, I can see Uranus." And then he goes, "You can?" And he pulls, he pulls his pants, and I'm like, "Oh no, I don't want to say that." So I had to lie my way out of it to get out of doing this awful joke. But he told me it was great. One time when I had my sitcom, the showrunner goes, "Why don't we have a big star every week do the cold opening?"
Uh-huh.
And I go, "Oh, sure, yeah." And he goes, "You can get big stars, right?" I'm like, "No, I can't get anyone." And he goes, "But you know Sandler." I go, "I'm not going to ask Sandler, you know." And then I told my agent, I said, "Don't ask Sandler," because the showrunner kept phoning my agent. I go, "Because I don't want to blow a favor. I know he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it, and then he's going to think I asked him for a favor." You know what I mean, kind of thing. So, you know, anyways, a few weeks later, my manager goes, "Oh, by the way, Sandler said he doesn't want to do it." I'm like, "Oh my God, I told you not to."
Yeah.
And then they said, one week, they go, "We got Eddie Murphy on the phone." I'm like, "Why? What?" And they're like, "Yeah, for the cold opening." And I go, "What cold opening?" And so they hand me this script, you know. So I'm talking to Eddie Murphy, and I don't know Eddie Murphy. And he's being super zen-like, you know. He's an amazing guy because he's all zen and peaceful. And then he tells a story, and it's hysterical. All of a sudden he's doing voices.
Uh-huh.
Because he was talking about being a director, and he goes real peacefully, you know. He was like, the directors in Hollywood are very tough to find one. Frank Oz was magnificent, but I was very unhappy with the other directors. finally I had to direct myself. And I directed Harlem Nights, and the Red Fox was in it. And so Red Fox came to the show once, and he was having trouble with the IRS, and he owed all this money. So he kept trying to sell me things. And he would come to the set, and he would go. And then all of a sudden, he's super funny, right? After doing this real flat voice. And he goes, and then Red Fox would say, hey, Eddie, you like Elvis? I got Elvis's watch. How'd you like to buy Elvis's watch? Elvis, give me this watch. So I said to him, hey, Red, how long have you had Elvis's watch? He said, I had it for 40 years. I go, that's not Elvis's watch. That's Red Fox's watch. I ain't buying Red Fox's fucking watch. So he's like super funny. And then he go back again to being Zen-like. So I said, so as I'm talking to him, I'm leafing through this fucking awful fucking shit of a cold opening that they're having him do. And so it's like, white guys writing for black guys, what they think they'd say. It's just awfully, horribly racist. And so he says to me, he goes, I'll do it. If you tell me it's funny, I'll do it. And I go, it's not funny.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do. We got, what we got on the show though? We got Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor. His last appearance everywhere.
No shit.
Was on my television show.
Wow.
And big mistake. Like he showed up, he's in his last stages of MS.
Yeah.
And everyone was crying, because you look, his eyes, he would do that fear look even when he was acting and stuff, when he was doing his stand up. That's what he was like. It was just pure fear. It's like he's locked in the side, like begging to get out somehow, and it's so hard to watch.
Right.
So, and then his wife, she goes, listen, he's really nervous. Would you go up and tell him you love him, hug him, kiss him, I go, hug him and kiss him? He goes, yeah, you can show him affection, he's very fragile. So I go up and I hug him and I kiss him. I go, you're the greatest ever, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But it's just great that you're here and this stuff like that. And then there's like two big black guys that are there, And one of the big black guys, like about 15 minutes later, goes, Richie thinks you're a faggot. So my everybody's comic hero. And I'm like sexually molesting him pretty well. Because of his stupid wife.
You used to get stage fright, is that true?
Yeah. Bad stage.
How'd you get over
attacks. Xanax. No, I had incredible panic attacks. Now, panic attacks are different than anxiety attacks. Anxiety attacks, you just get very nervous. Panic attacks, impending doom. You actually think you're going to die. So I went one time, I had a panic attack immediately before Update, where I was doing live TV. So you can see it, if you look it up. And I'm just talking real fast, as fast as I can, because I want to get off, and just rushing through the jokes, and nobody laughs because I don't even let them. And then afterwards, Lauren was like, "What was that?" I was like, I was trying something different. And went to a psychiatrist, and ever since then I've been gulping fistfuls of Xanax before a show.
That helps?
Oh my God, it's helping right now.
You took a Xanax today?
Huh?
You took a Xanax?
He goes to a psychiatrist. Have you ever gone to a psychiatrist?
Yes.
What do they tell you?
Well, I've never gone for that particular issue.
Affliction?
every time I've gone, I've been in great duress, just hot anxiety. You know what that is? Just like.
Well, I had panic.
Yeah.
Have you ever had panic?
Yes,
I've had
attacks. Well, anxiety attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. Yeah. Is it different than panic?
Well, panic attacks, you feel an impending death.
No, not impending death. I've been led to believe that anxiety is connected to OCD somehow.
Oh.
And
so you have some SSRI or whatever they're called?
Yeah, and they work just fine. But the psychiatrist, I would always go, I would cut in line to get to the psychiatrist because I would believe that my problems are far worse than anybody else's, with the exception of perhaps Adam.
They don't like jokes. I went one time, and I was in the Fifth Avenue in just some apartment, somebody's apartment building, and they made me go for gambling. And anyways, a lady was there, and she kept asking me this question. I'm joking. Oh, what about your father? I'm joking. She's like, enough with the jokes. So then I can't joke anymore. So now I'm just crying and I can't. And then she's like, time's up. I'm like, no. Like, I'll pay anything. Let me say it. She's like, get out. And then you're in the cold New York with hot dog vendors, tears going down your eyes. They don't care about you.
No, and then you head over to the Queensboro Bridge.
Yeah, you get a little release.
Told me that we should go our separate ways, but now you're back. Live my life without.
I stumped a fucking psychiatrist once. I said to the guy, because I was fucking gambling all the time, shit, right? I had a gambling addiction. I'm over it now, but shit. But he said,
I bet you're not. That's a good one. He almost lost everything.
Oh, shit.
You ever met Chip? Yes, Chipperson is very funny. Yeah.
But he said, the psychiatrist, he said, you're using gambling, you're fixating on gambling in order to escape your real thoughts, And I said to him, isn't that why you do everything in life? And literally, I stumped him.
He had no answer.
He was like, and then he recovered and tried to make it. But isn't that why you do everything?
Yes.
So you're not sitting at home
just thinking
about
what was
what's
your,
really going to happen to us?
where it all ends?
Yeah. My first time I ever went to a psychiatrist, when I was a boy, I went to a psychiatrist in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I went 4 times. And I didn't go the 5th time because he committed suicide.
Wow.
So I read in the newspaper, all kinds of problems this guy had. He was in debt and embezzling and all this. And all I kept thinking was I wasted like 4 hours of his last life complaining about how I couldn't find a house.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame yourself for this.
No, I don't.
No, as long as we can have a good laugh about it now. That's all that counts, really, when you look at it.
Some of you may have heard I had an amazing week last week when I got married. And I've had such a great time that I decided to let them show the video of my wedding. So here it is.
Was cash.
Here I am talking about the caterer. He did a really wonderful job.
6 months ago.
Well, I never said cash.
The deal was cash.
Here, I'm sure this will cover it. It's from the spellings. What are you doing? Turn that thing off.
Connected to our senses.
Probably no institution in this country is as burdened with the problems as the American prison system. Here to update Here to comment is update correspondent Norm Macdonald. Sorry, Norm. Hello.
Thank you. I've always been afraid of going to prison, and I was thinking about it the other day, and I realized that what scares me most about going to prison isn't the loss of freedom or the stigma or even the separation from family. For me, the scariest thing about going to prison is, it's the You know, the anal rape. And it's always kind of puzzled me that they never seem to, you know, touch on that during the sentencing. You know, it's a worst part of the whole deal, and the judge doesn't even mention it. You know? There's probably guys who go to prison and don't even realize what's in store for them, you know, because they're not as streetwise as you and me. You know, can you imagine that? You know, you're sent to prison, you know, the first night there, you know, there's the anal rape thing there, you know. The next day you see the guy in a prison cafeteria there, and you go, hey, buddy, hey, I got a bone to pick with you, pal, hey. Let me tell you something, you were way out of line last night, way out of line. It's ridiculous. How'd you like if I did something like that to you, huh? How would that be? No, you wouldn't like that too much, would you? No. Let me just say, that was one of the most selfish, inconsiderate things I've ever been involved with. What were you thinking? Or were you even thinking? I mean, what's got into you? I turn my back on you for a second, you pull a stunt like that? It's ridiculous. And another thing, don't be telling Johnson I'm your bitch. I'm not your bitch. That's crazy. I'm not even gay. I tried to tell you that last night, but you wouldn't listen. No, you wouldn't listen, would you? I have a good mind to go to the warden about this. It's crazy. And you know what hurts the most, pal? You know what? I trusted you. That's what hurts the most. You know? Well, actually, the anal rape hurt the most, but trusting you is second. A distant second, I'll tell you that. Anyway, I'm so angry I can't even talk to you right now. You know, I'll just leave you with this. You got a lot of growing up to do, pal. A lot of growing up, I'll tell you that. Anyway, that's what scares me most about going to prison. Back to you, Kevin.
Thanks, Norm.
Do you have a team? Do you have a rooting interest in football?
Yeah. I have a team I very much like. It used to be Denver because this is an interesting thing that happened. I never liked Peyton Manning. I don't know why, but I just didn't.
Are you a Brady guy, or are you just an anti-Peyton guy?
No, I just for some reason didn't like Peyton. I didn't like that Eli. I really didn't like that Eli was drafted by Seattle and said, "No, I'm going somewhere else." I'm like, "What? You're allowed to do that?"
Elway did that to Baltimore.
That's right. He did. You're right. So I said, so anyways, but Peyton Manning one time, I was in a hotel in New York and I was leaving it, and Peyton Manning was coming in, and he walked up to me and he said, "Hi, I'm a big fan. Peyton Manning?" You know, like he said his own name as if he needed to. And I liked him. That's how shallow I am. A guy likes me, and then I like him.
Well, you know he was there that night.
What night?
At Radio City Music Hall.
Oh, well, you're right.
He was a young...
he was really young.
Yeah, he was super young. He's one of the awkward cutaways that you always get.
Right, because I remember looking and going, wow, is that him? Because I saw just recently, and another guy that hated me was Bill Bradley.
Well, I mean... even if he liked you, he couldn't show that he liked you. He's in politics. You know how that goes.
Exactly. But no, my team is the Seattle Seahawks because I love Russell, you know. But I'll tell you this, man, I love Chip Kelly. I really love Chip Kelly. I don't like Cap.
Not in the NFL?
Pardon me?
You like Chip Kelly in the NFL?
Yeah,
really?
I do, yeah. I think it's crazy to fire him because I just love that, you know, exciting, super fast offense. I think it's such a great idea if it's perfected, but they never give him long enough, you know? Because a team that's almost like, in basketball, the triangle offense, if that even exists or is anything. But to do it that fast, that, you know, almost no huddle, speed, you know, for the entire game. It takes a while, you know, for everybody to get comfortable with it, but you'd think once they got comfortable with it, they just crush everybody.
Everybody gets comfortable, but your defense that keeps having to go out there.
Like, oh my God,
for 40 minutes.
That's very true.
I feel like you should get extra money if you play 40 minutes in a 60-minute game. You know.
That's very true.
That's spoken like a comedian. Hey, if I'm doing more time, you gotta break up the money.
Remember when Baltimore's defense was so dominant, and they were, they'd just be moving around like ready to go with Ray Lewis in front, and God, that must have instilled such fear.
They used to play a lot of time because their offense couldn't stay on the field, so they regularly would do 40 minutes.
Right. And I guess it'll be interesting. I keep hearing Denver being written off, but they won with Peyton throwing 10-yard passes, and then they got to the playoffs with Tebow and they won a game.
Yeah, I mean, look, the defense for the last couple of years has shown the ability to finish even whatever's going on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't know if that's going to be true of Seattle, because you just dropped the game to the Rams, who looked like
that was kind of crazy.
Division I AA in week 1. They had no business winning in week 2, but
I know I had them in. I somehow survived my pool, because the first week I have a suicide pool for a lot of money, and I had Seattle week 1, and I had Baltimore.
You took Seattle in week 1.
Well, week 1 is so bizarre.
No faith in your team. No faith in them to go far.
Wait, no, I took Seattle to win.
No, I know, but you saved the good team.
Yeah, I know, but I was told that you have to win. I've never played a suicide pool.
Okay.
So I said, I had this whole, I looked at the entire year and I had it all figured out. And then my friend said, no, everybody tries that and then they lose right away. So he goes, you gotta survive. That's the whole thing. And then you think strategy later.
No.
But I just creeped by with Seattle, and then last week I had Baltimore.
Oh, so okay, and, that was a good week to take Baltimore.
I was down 20-2 when I turned on the TV. I woke up late.
I don't think you want Baltimore the rest of the year after the way they looked in the first half.
Oh my God! And then I said to my kid, "How did they get a safety?" And then they got no other points. And he said, "No, they ran back a missed field goal." Which,
anything can happen when Cleveland's playing.
I know, that's true.
Anything can happen.
That's absolutely true.
Now, kind of like you, is one of the things you talk about in your book is gambling.
Yes, sir.
Like you, I don't drink and I don't smoke or any of that stuff anymore. I'm on the bench. I did it once upon a time, but it went bad.
Me too.
So, will you recommend gambling? Because I need a vice. I feel like I need something in my life.
No. I wouldn't recommend gambling. No. It's a lot of fun. And you don't hurt yourself physically, except your nerves and stuff. But there was one type of gambling that was so crazy. It was called lightning, and it only works on over-under bets, total bets. But you do it in basketball. So let's say the total was 180. So you bet so many dollars per point, So you start. So let's say you bet, if you're crazy, $1,000 a point. So you start $180,000 down, and then every 2 points they get, you go. So
whoa!
But
who does this?
So every basket, your heart's racing. Every missed basket. But once it hits 180, then it's $2,000 per basket. So then you're like in a dreamland. And then if it hits overtime, you're like, oh my God! So that's the craziest thing of it, because right from the first whistle, everything's important. But
you can't do that with like a J.R. Smith game or anything like that.
No. I have learned with professional football, which seems like the easiest thing to predict, I think is the hardest thing to predict. I think baseball is the easiest thing to predict in gambling, because baseball is a game of streaks. Like, for instance, Kirk Gibson's home run. Here's the Dodgers playing Oakland, a much superior team, and Kirk Gibson hits a home run. And what game does he hit the home run in?
Game
1.
Was that game 1?
Yeah.
I thought it was a series decided.
Yeah,
Wait, so he's out there pumping his fists in game 1?
Yeah.
You don't pump your fist in game 1.
That's what's amazing about baseball.
I didn't know that.
So it was just assumed that they would win because of this dramatic thing that happened in game 1, and sure of all they did.
And Bill Buckner as well. A lot of people think that was game 7.
I know, they do. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And also, if you go when Boston beat the Yankees when they were down 3-0 and they won 4 in a row, and then they won 4 straight after that to beat St. Louis or whoever was the National League champ. So if you get on a streak during the regular season in baseball, you can run that streak, whether it's a winning streak or a losing streak, for a lot.
See, I find basketball to be the most difficult because the final score is the most arbitrary. Because the final score in basketball has a weak correlation to how the game went. Like you could blow a team out and beat them by 7 because garbage time. You know what I mean?
Right. You're always telling your friends, no, it was different than different than the ticker looks.
Yeah.
You know, and I got a bunch of scrubs in there, and or it's a close game, and then suddenly it's fouled, and all of a sudden they win by 14, or it's a tie game, and then they win by 9 in overtime.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's any crazy thing can happen.
Now, are you out of the game now?
I say football is the hardest because the ball's not round. And to me, a round ball going into a round hoop or putting a round ball going into a hole is more predictable than a weird shaped ball that can do anything. Like once it bounces off a guy's chest and goes in the air, and then it's bouncing on and the weirdest thing is 20 guys jump on the ball in a big pile, dog pile.
And they're squeezing each other underneath there also.
Because technically,
holding each other.
Whoever, if you had a camera that looked through people, technically the guy that's on the bottom of that pile holding the ball, touching the ground, covered with human beings, is the one that possesses the ball, but he's never the one that ends up with it.
No.
It's the big giant guy.
It's whoever has the least nerves below the waist.
Exactly.
In their extremities.
Exactly. Which it seems like athletes have that I could never. You see a boxing and a guy takes it right below the belt and he shakes it off in a minute. Like I would be throwing up in the corner for like an hour and a half,
Today. The list of kind words goes on, and today we are joined by his friend and former co-star, actor Daryl Hammond. Hi, Daryl. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey there. Good morning. How are you?
Okay. Well, Daryl, you took to Twitter in the wake of this news, writing, "R.I.P. my dazzling friend. There was no one funnier than Norm. Hardest I ever laughed was with him. I will miss you and your friendship." So many people are talking about him and his work in the industry, but you actually knew him personally. So can you tell us just a bit of what it was like being his friend?
Yeah, you didn't think of it like at the time as like it was like anything special because he was such a no frills kind of a guy. I mean, he wasn't seeking fame and he wasn't seeking fortune or power. He just was living his life trying to be funny, and it seemed so unremarkable at the time. It was just Norm being funny and being him, which was thought is formed on the way out, and you just say exactly what you think immediately. And sometimes it lands with favor, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Take me into one of your biggest belly laughs with Norm.
Yes.
If you can.
I mean, the thing is that I know him. I can think of some professional stuff that was really funny, but personal stuff and people that were in his life probably is some of those stories I shouldn't tell because it involves other famous people. But you know what I mean?
Okay, take me to a professional one then. What was one of your favorite on-camera Norm moments?
Well, my favorite on-camera Norm moment was when he was doing Burt Reynolds, in Celebrity Jeopardy and refused to answer to that name when Alex Trebek referred to him because he had changed his name to Turd Ferguson. Burt Reynolds.
That's not my name.
Okay, Turd Ferguson. He wore that giant hat.
Yeah, what do you want?
I'll put that up there with my favorite moments ever on stage at SNL.
Hilarious.
I'll put that up there with the cowbell sketch. It was hard to stand next to him and not just become an audience member, That was sort of the way he was. You didn't want to be in the sketch anymore. You wanted to watch the sketch. You wanted to watch him do his thing,
Yeah, a lot of people having to deal with breaking during that sketch.
Yeah. Yeah, you really tried hard not to break. And I just wished I could walk off to the left about 10 or 20 feet and stand there with everyone else on the floor, people standing around. I wanted to join them and just watch Turd Ferguson do his thing.
Oh man. And what was he like? Just, coming into set, just take me into his personality a little bit off camera.
Super low key. He would be over talking to the key grip or talking to the nurses. He was always talking. He was very interested in people. And he was very curious about people and very engaged with everyone from techies and camera operators. Oh, and then Elle McPherson walks by and he says hi to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was utterly himself and he didn't know how to be other than that.
Sean Connery has set a new Jeopardy record with negative $230,000.
You think you're pretty smart, don't you, Trebek? What with your dago mustache and your greasy hair?
Look, what did I just say about ethnic slurs? And finally, back again, Burt Reynolds in a commanding lead with $14.
Hey, check out the podium. Look at this.
Mr. Reynolds has apparently changed his name to Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, that's right. Turd Ferguson. It's a funny name.
Great. Mr. Reynolds, it's still your board.
Yeah, well, why don't you give me ape tit for 200?
It's not ape tit. It's a petite, never mind.
Yeah, I'll take the condom thing for 8,000.
That's condiments. For 400. This condiment is made from mustard seed. This is the sound a doggy makes. Mr. Connery.
Moo.
No.
Well, that's the sound your mother made last night.
Burt Reynolds.
That's not my name.
Okay. Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, what do you want?
You buzzed in.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, well, that's your opinion.
Mr. Reynolds, what are you doing?
Yeah, I found this backstage. Oversized hat. It's funny.
No, it's not.
Sure it is. It's funny. It's funny because it's bigger than a normal hat.
I see that. Get back to your podium. Yeah, I see it. Go back to your podium. It's not funny. Suck it, Trebek. That's all the time we have. Good night. Would you get that off me?
Daryl, not many people knew about Norm's battle with cancer. Did the news of his death come as a shock to you as well?
Yeah. I was still seeing his name on billboards and stuff and seeing his name online. And I was even talking with him not so very long ago about doing my podcast. And I never really pursued it aggressively because it didn't seem right to have like a friend on the podcast, like someone that you hung out with and knew in a different context.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I would just like to stay friends.
Wow, and it sounds like he was himself to the end. Can you just take me? You mentioned it, but can you take me into a little bit of when you last got to talk to him and just kind of spend some time, even if it was just on the phone?
I think the last time I spoke with him at real length, like, the in-depth kind of conversation you would want to have with somebody, was after he took over as Colonel Sanders, which was a huge, it sounds paltry now, but it was a big job. And I loved it. And KFC replaced me with him. And so the interesting part about him was he should have been on this big victory lap.
Yeah.
Incredibly great job. And he was going on the air and talking to people like that the KFC should have replaced me because I was the best one. He was more concerned. You can't fake that. Like, concern for your brother or, more than yourself. You can't fake that stuff. He was saying that to them, and everyone was like, yeah, I got to take the job. It's a great job. But he was better. And,
Wow.
Right? Like, he's like,
that's great.
Yeah, it's like, I kind of feel bad about it because he's much better at this than me. And none of this makes any sense to me at all. And the truth is, he was a great Colonel Sanders, and as I knew he would be, he was really fun to watch.
Well, it sounds like any character he stepped into, he owned it.
He was bringing the electricity, yeah.
Howdy, folks. It's me, Colonel Sanders. I've been gone for a while, and boy, howdy, have things changed. Nowadays, you got your International Space Station, your double-sided tape, your cargo pants. You seen these pants? That's too many pockets. But what you don't always seem to have these days is my Kentucky Fried Chicken. Well, I'm here to change that, folks. I'm here to make sure my chicken's still as tasty and delicious as it ever was. I'm Colonel Sanders. And I'm back, America. I'm back, America! It's still finger-licking good.
Here are some slides from my research trip down to Nashville. Now, here I am at the airport. Here I am trying classic Nashville hot chicken with its spicy, smoky flavor. Here I am thinking, man, this would be great with my crispy hand-prepared chicken. Here I am writing down the recipe. And here I am with KFC's new Nashville hot chicken. Straight from Nashville for a limited time only. There you go. It's finger-licking good.
Do you have any other color jokes? He's just blue and yellow.
Did you just say, do we have any other colored jokes?
I knew you were going to say that.
Fucking Jimmy the Greek over here. I don't want to...
Jimmy the Greek.
How about Jimmy the Greek gets kicked out for being a racist? Meanwhile, they call him the Greek. I'm going to lose it though.
Yeah, it's the heaviest I've ever seen.
And since I've gained it, I sweat like a
you sweat
like a whore in church. I don't mean to be
what?
I don't mean to be filthy, but
a whore in church.
Yeah, she's nervous, so she sweats because
sweating like a Chris Dorner in a Big Bear cabin.
Okay, come on.
Well, I'm just
that's racist.
Two businessmen bought the Milwaukee Bucks for $550 million. They are very excited with their purchase, as this is the only legal way to own black people. Now that is here, and I read that.
Well, you're not there. You know how businessmen are racist?
They are.
Yes, it's them being racist.
They are.
You.
The two businessmen that bought the Milwaukee Bucks for $550 million are racist, according to this.
They're fine, man.
They're
Jim's.
You said their neighbor was Jim Ping?
That is my neighbor. A nice fella.
Nice guy?
Let me as abacus
I want to do this.
Jesus. Oh, come on. That's not a Chinese guy.
I wasn't saying it was.
That's kind of racist.
What are you, Mickey Rooney?
Hey, come on.
I know he's dead, but Mickey Rooney did a very racist thing, like you just did, in a movie called Breakfast at Tiffany's by the wonderful Truman Capote.
I wasn't doing anything racist, and you know it. But go ahead.
We start talking. She's texting me at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? She's like, oh, I'm bored and I wish I had some weed. You want to come over? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And she's sending pictures of her. Oh, maybe maybe we'll have fun. And I'm like, so at this point,
what were the pictures?
It was like her bent over with no, clothes on and stuff. And I'm like, but at this point, my cock's making the decisions. Anyway,
tell me.
And so I call my friend, and then she's like, yeah, just can you bring a C note? Well, I have a roommate that sells $100 bill, and we'll go get some weed, and you can come. And I'm like, yeah, am I getting mugged? I called my friend. He said, put the phone number into Facebook, and you can see who the person is.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so I put the phone number into Facebook, and the profile comes up. It's this black guy in a ski mask in all the pictures.
It doesn't matter what race he was.
So
As a matter of fact, I don't know how I knew he was black. He was wearing a ski mask.
Well, you could tell. So I head over there. No, I know. You can tell.
I know.
No,
I've never heard his view on African Americans until this very show. That's interesting that you got that out of him.
Plenty of black friends.
Plenty of black friends.
Dated a black woman for months. No, I'm not a racist.
Yes. If a man has a job and he is a racist, should the job be taken away from him?
No.
Okay.
But his fellows should.
Good news for him.
Yeah.
Not a racist.
Do you know the joke about B.B. King's wife?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't think so.
B.B.'s having a birthday, so she wants to surprise him. So she goes to the tattoo parlor. She says, put a B on one cheek and a B on the other. So the guy does it. She goes home. B.B. comes home. She opens the door, bends over, drops her shorts, and says, surprise! He said, who's Bob?
Oh, that's racist. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. The one and only Super Dave Osborne and his joke about
Yeah, sell that to Michael Richards, man. Well,
Wow.
That's not a racist joke.
Yeah, sure it isn't.
Who's Bob?
Yeah, that's.
Now, what do you think about this dog, the bounty hunter? Have you been following that at all, Norm?
Oh, that guy, I mean, to me that sounds racist. But like you gotta remember that even though that is a racist comment, listen, man, we've all known bounty hunters in our time, and they have that thing like curse like a sailor. Well, that could go for bounty hunters just as well. They just chose sailor. Those guys. I mean, they're not like you or me,
No, they're bounty hunters.
If you choose that as your career, you're a bounty hunter. Listen, some salty language is not going to be You may as well just be a longshoreman. No, there's nothing worse than bounty hunting.
Norm, you're a genius. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Anything else you want to lay on the listeners before we leave today?
That was funny, that bounty hunting thing. Seems like he's going to get a pass on it, right?
I don't think so, Norm. I think he's in trouble.
Are his bounty hunting days over?
Where's he go from that?
We can't keep you on. I'm sorry, but you have to. You have a public image of hunting down criminals in their hotel rooms, diving at them in the middle of the night and beating them up. We can't have you saying racist things. I don't know.
All right, Norm, I'm going to put some oxygen on my face here and recover. You're going to be on every Friday now?
Yeah, that'll be fun, right?
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'll be like your Pete Barbuti.
Barbuti. No, stop. Chuck Mangione references be far behind. Yeah. Thank you, Storm and Norman. We'll talk at you down the road. This is the Dennis Miller Show.
Norm, come to my 5th grade class. I dare you.
Well, where does she? Is it in are there black people there?
Oh my God!
Where's
what does
the
that have to do
925?
with it?
Well,
Why is it harder if there's black people
Because
there?
black people are generally poor, and poor people are generally dangerous.
Oh my God!
Wow,
I can't
Norm.
believe you just went there.
What? Black people are rich?
Their black people span all the strata.
No.
And you're saying
you
and
gotta
white
check
people
your
are
statistics.
poor and
No,
my
black
God.
people are poorer than white people. You didn't know that? Are you telling
Norm.
me that you think black?
What I'm saying is that I try not to pigeonhole people into black people
truth.
are poor, not into the truth. Listen, there's a huge ignored middle class black population out there. How dare you say black people are poor and therefore dangerous?
Because I want them to be not poor. That's why.
And really, how are you what's your plan?
My plan is to first of all admit that the black people have less money than white people. Because we
Black
live in a
people,
racist
our phone number is
society.
800-400-FM97. If you'd like to talk with Norm Macdonald, I'm sure he'd love to take your call
Absolutely.
right now. Michelle, you're on the air.
I just wanted to say that was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And you need
What, that black
you're
people
not-
are poor? It's
no,
hilarious.
The teacher thing, and
Oh.
you need to probably act like you're not offended by that, because first, you don't have a right to act like you're offended, and that was funny as hell. He is right about black people being poor. You know it. I know it.
Oh,
and the
my
black
God,
people know
what
it.
has happened on this show?
Well, he taught us a lot today. I think moms.
Oh, it's a learning show.
Mom's
Well,
an
wait a
easy
second.
job.
Where have
Teachers
you
an
guys
easy
been
job.
living for the last 300 years?
Paris, you are on the air.
I think that is completely untrue.
Go on.
Not all black people are poorer
Amen.
than
Sister?
white.
Oh, I didn't say that.
That's what you
No,
said.
you said
I
black
said
people
black
have
people
less money
have
than
less
white people.
money than white people.
You've
yeah.
been to West Virginia? Because there's some white people with no money there.
Well,
exactly.
Well, okay. You're saying one black person has more money than one
Yeah,
white
okay,
person.
like, what
True.
about Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, what about Eddie Murphy?
You're
Yeah.
saying by and
No,
large,
you're right.
if you
You're
break
right.
it down.
You're right. Yeah, of course, black people have less money than white people.
As
not
an average.
true. Not all black people have less money than white people.
Oh
but he's
my
talking
God.
in
Oh
okay.
my
We all
God.
get what he's saying.
Listen. Guys in wheelchair. There's a guy in a wheelchair that can go faster than me in a race. But if I said guys in wheelchairs are generally slower than me, come
The
on.
way you said it was so harsh that to
Give
say...
your head a shake. Give your head a shake.
Oh, my God. All right, thank you. Hey, it's Danielle from Big Brother. Famously black woman.
Where's my 40 acres and a mule? I need my 40 acres and a mule. But you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
Go on, Danielle.
I mean, if you think
School
about
us.
it, there's been cases where the same person will apply for a job, and at times the other race gets the higher pay. I'm just keeping it real, folks.
All right, thank you, Danielle.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
All right, just sum it all up, Norm Macdonald.
Well, I'm saying that having
Try
less
to offend everyone equally.
having less money or or not having less money is not a product of your nature. It's that you don't have the money because the white people don't give you the money.
It's actually supportive of black people to say that, actually.
707
Of course
says...
I'm supportive of black people. I'm in a room of
You're saying
racists.
that to have justice,
Oh,
we should
my
all
God.
have equal,
The 415 says maybe we should
That's
educate
funny.
our... Do you want to keep him for the next segment? At this point, I'm not sure. I'm finding Norm to be somewhat on the offensive side.
You know what, though? I love that he's saying all this stuff and then looks over with a big smile.
I know,
and
big smile. He's like, oh, man, they're going to talk about this all day.
Well, I didn't know that everyone. I thought San Francisco was a little more open than.
No, San Francisco actually
They're
isn't.
racist?
No, they're not racist.
Well, so far, by the way, most people have agreed with me. They were just about to start, and Jimmy said, "Can I talk to you, buddy?" I said, "Of course." So we went back, and he said he was very broken up about it. He didn't want this, but he said, "I don't know what to do." And I said, "You think I shouldn't do the show?" He said, "It's just I have so much pressure from people, He goes, "People are crying." I said, "People are crying? People are crying?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "My senior producers are crying." I was like, good Lord. I go, well, bring them in and let me talk to them. I don't want to make people cry, you know?
Right.
I didn't even know I had the capacity to make people cry, to tell you the truth.
Right.
So I felt so bad from that comment. And then, so Jimmy said, come back whenever you want, but I think it'll hurt the show tonight. And I said, well, Jimmy, I don't want to hurt your show. That's the last thing I want to do is hurt your show.
He said, Jimmy Fallon came up to him in the dressing room and said, people were crying. And he goes, people are crying. Oh, my God.
People are pussies.
Well, and that's why Norm
people
was
are
like,
fucking pussies. We don't need to accommodate you because you're pussy and you're crying.
We have, it's like emergency fire departments. Now there's emergency torch departments. Something happens. People, they run out with a flaming torch. Let's get them out and go.
So he was literally at the show in the green room.
Because Jimmy went back to talk to him, Jimmy Fallon, and said, like, what do we do about this, buddy? This was the article that just came out.
The other thing I never figure out with all this stuff is Norm Macdonald comes on, does his sit-down bit, makes everyone laugh, and then leaves. Is there anyone in the audience with their arms folded going, well, I can't enjoy this after reading that article he did several weeks ago? Or is there who would even know? Did you guys know?
No. And that was the other thing in the article. It said, and I'm sorry I don't have it in front of me, but one of the producers, I believe, suggested that Norm opened the show with an apology. And Norm goes, it's not my show. What do you mean I opened the show with an apology? So they were just trying to figure this out, and then they just canceled it.
Well,
he's
now my least favorite Jimmy.
I tell you, if there was just a
now,
remember now? Yeah. I don't think I said now.
You did actually.
I don't think I said. Check the tape. Check the tape.
Remember, the old instinct would have been like, "Hey, let's lead your segment with this. We'll handle this in a funny way, but you can still get in whatever you need to say if you want to say it. Then you do several jokes, and we get the hell out of here. We'll go for a nightcap."
Well, and that's what they said. They said, "Do we open with this? Once you're sitting down?" And he said, "Well, that kind of ruins the mood of the jokes. Why don't we address it at the end?" And they said it was just too much of a thing.
Listen, I'm sorry. Fallon is a pussy because Fallon ultimately is in charge.
He just had the thought, like, oh, wow, Jimmy Fallon took the pussy way out.
He is a pussy because I've been around, Jeff's been around. Ultimately, when the guy with his name on the show says, hey, here's what I want to do. I really feel like this is what we're going to do. You can kind of veto, override anyone. It's probably a little less back than it was with, back in Letterman and Johnny Carson and all that kind of stuff. But you can just go, I'll handle this. We can do this. Yeah. I'm not going to walk down the hall and tell this guy who's been in the business 10 years longer than me that he can't come on and crack wise because he was actually truthful when somebody baited him into a question, probably, for the Los Angeles Times. So he's a pussy. Whoever was crying should just be fucking shit-canned. You want to know about people who need to be shit-canned? You want that person on your crew? And by the way, no one was crying. And if they were crying, they're unstable. Yeah. There's something wrong with that.
Your appearance on Jimmy Fallon was canceled, and he said that his staffers were actually crying about the comments that you made. Were you surprised at that reaction?
Have you been surprised that you were there? They were crying that he was there.
That you were even there. Have you been surprised by this reaction?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I have been surprised because, I never did anything. I mean, I spoke, but I don't want to be tossed in with people that actually did, not crimes, but sins, or, I barely have consensual sex.
Oh, they all have consent. It's all consensual. When Mr. Happy comes out, it's all consensual.
There's a girl that used to hang around SNL. So she'd be standing like this far from you, and her breast would be touching your shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, it was insane. And
it's not her fault.
No, of course not. But
It's just your human body.
You know, they broke
It's
up.
like saying, God, Norm, he stands near me. His cock is nowhere near me. Can you believe this guy? Sorry.
I just want the new people. Oh, hey, guess what? There's a young girl that's middling attractive that swears a lot. Let's get her. What? Is that the new fucking thing?
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman, hysterical.
Right.
Who's funnier than her?
Nobody.
No, except dudes. But,
Nobody.
but I think she spawned these other ladies that they forget that she's funny, and they think the whole point is just to be
semi-hot,
attractive, and then talk about sucking cock. And
you got to show
shit.
a lot of leg. You got to show a lot of leg with little skirts on, and then talk about sucking cock and manipulating balls with your hand, and it's hysterical.
Bring back Phyllis Diller. Some ugly old bag. Rosemary.
Rosemary.
Those are the funny ladies.
Wow. Whoa, that is old.
The funny ladies always used to be ugly old bags. Or Roseanne. You know. Have you ever had a job other than show business? No, right?
No, I mean, I was a waitress, but...
Pretty quick, though.
Yeah, you
It was the first time I ever saw a penis.
When you were a waitress?
Yeah. My boss.
Jesus.
Can you change perception? Like one time I remember there was a magazine and it said, Elle or some ladies magazine, big breasts are out. And I was like, can you really do that? And like, 1996, those huge juicy tits.
Yeah. Everybody hates those big, heavy, juicy tits. Gross.
Icky.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
You got me, Norm. Oh, baby.
Hey,
That's dangerous.
it is dangerous. Oh, here we go. We've got creator and the star of Comedy Central's hit series, the Sarah Silverman program, and she's a member of the comedy collective Jash, and also Sarah Silverman is a wonderful person that I'm really happy to be around right now.
Thank you, Jenny Slate.
Straight up, sunglasses.
You know how I feel about you and about sunglasses.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I hope this our bit works out. We'll see. It'll be fun.
Hey,
Norm, thanks for dressing up.
Hey, Sarah, listen, man. Congratulations. That's the 100th time that joke's been done tonight. But I also want to tell you, I have a bet with Daniel Kellison, a rather large figure.
Daniel Kellison, who put this whole thing together way over his head.
He says you can explain what the fuck Jash is.
Jash is
pay up, fucker.
Jash is a comedy collective, a United Artists, if you will. Uniting myself, Reggie Watts, Michael Cera, and Tim and Eric. And what do? We do whatever we dream up. We shoot it, and it goes on there. We can fail. We can do well. It's total freedom.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
You got me, Norm.
I mean, I've never heard the word collective.
I know, but
Leon
Daniel
Trotsky.
puts buzzwords in my head, and then I just blind.
All the stars are here. Bobby McFerrin just showed up.
Norm, didn't you used to host the news on Saturday Night
I know,
Live?
man. This whole thing's got me thinking I gotta fucking get back on TV.
I was at a party with a friend and I noticed you first, and you returned my gaze, knew how to quench my thirst. You took me to that room like a dream come true. The dance you performed was just for me and you. Kisses on the neck, then you work your way down. Let yourself go for me all around town. Seductively stood.
Most embarrassing moment of your life. So many to choose from. I know you've mined probably a few of them for your little stand-up sketches.
I have to be honest.
I want a new scab peeled off here.
I've never said this out loud. I want people to see me in a sexual way, but I was on SNL the year I was at SNL, but I was in Los Angeles for hiatus for some reason. I didn't live here. And I went to I was having dinner, and then I was going to take the red eye back, and I was to pick up Norm Macdonald in my rental car, and we're on the same flight back. But I think he was in first class and I was in coach. So I went to Soup Plantation before and had dinner with some friends, and then it just hit me like your story that I don't know if you told while we were doing this.
Yeah, 5-pound weight dropped down in your belly.
That happened to me, and I had the diarrhea of a lifetime in the bathroom at Soup Plantation. Like,
not a luxurious bathroom.
Like when you think it's over and you've cleaned up and you're getting up and you stand up and you go, oh my God, it's starting all over again. It was like that. It was like I was sweating, like I wanted to take my shirt off.
Yeah, and you've already wiped thinking it was done. Now you got to wipe again.
And I'm very meticulous. I mean, I
front to back.
Yes.
Okay.
This just made me think of Harris Whittles said about Rob Schraub that most people wipe front to back, he wipes side to side. That makes me laugh. Okay, so I'm like sick. I'm sick. Okay, so I clean myself up, and I go to pick up Norm Macdonald, who I worshipped, at that time, and I pick him up. And we're driving. I've never told this story. I've never told him this. And we're driving to the airport. And Norm goes, "What the fuck? It smells like fucking diarrhea in this car." And I'm going, "What?" And my heart is going, bam, 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 bam. And he goes, "Did you fucking shit in your pants?" And I go, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." And I we roll down our windows. And I'm thinking, what is he smelling? Like, I must have, stepped on it or something. Like, it literally, I don't know what it was. And to this day, I was clean. I swear to God.
And this was your worst nightmare.
It is still to this day probably my worst nightmare. And he's going, fucking smells like fucking diarrhea in this car. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, Norm. But in my heart, my heart is just pounding out of my chest, and I'm just like, what is wrong with me? And I'm feeling it again. And then we get to the airport, and I go to the bathroom, and I'm totally clean. I don't know, I'm still to this day, I don't know if it was on the bottom of my shoe.
Or maybe in that, when your underwear and pants form a little hammock underneath you.
I don't have that. I'm a lady.
Yeah.
I don't know, or maybe it was a crazy coincidence. It makes more sense that Norm shit his pants and was yelling at me for shitting his pants. He's a guy who literally took a shit and then forgot to wipe and walked away and pulled up his pants because he was on the phone. So anyway, he just told that story on Stern, I think. That was it. He boarded the plane, did not even say goodbye or anything. He just got on the plane way before me, and I never saw him again until we got to work on Monday.
Wow.
But I've remained good friends with him, but
You never told him this story?
No, I've got to ask him about that. I guess what is there to ask?
Well, he listens to every podcast, so he will probably reach out to you after hearing this. Can you imagine if he was still angry, all these years later? You fucking denied it?
Well, that was what's scary is he was angry. It wasn't oh my God, do you smell that? What is that? Is that this area? I hope you don't think that's me.
You always give somebody an out.
It was just an accusatory anger.
Wow.
And I wanted to
shit your pants.
Honestly wanted to just drive the car into a wall and kill us both.
Wow.
Would have been less embarrassing.
Wow.
Why did I tell this